Good afternoon and welcome to M.M.E. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about the Dungeons & Dragons Golden Archive collection, Gelatinous Cube. The Gelatinous Cube's pretty neat, and let me tell you a little story. So, last week, I'm sitting on my couch, we're watching South Park with a friend, and get a phone call, and it's from a friend of mine who occasionally just drops by Targets and Walmarts and kind of gives me an understanding of what's going on right now in the toy world. Well, he gives me a call and he's like, "Hey, you're into D&D, right?" And I went, "Yeah, I am in the Dungeons and Dragons. What's up?" And he goes, "There's a gelatinous cube in the toy aisle." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? How big is this gelatinous cube?" And he goes, "Well, it's like 8 inches by 8 inches on the box." And I went, "Oh my. Oh my. Um, what else does it have?" It's like a bunch of accessories. And I'm like, "You know what? That's really cool. Can you pick it up for me?" And he goes, "No, I don't have that kind of money. It's like $30." And I went, "Oh, it's like $30? Actually, let me check Amazon." So I looked on Amazon. There were 7 for 22. So I got one, and then my housemate immediately bought another one whenever mine came in, and I put it together, and he was like, "Oh my God, it looks awesome. I want one." So he bought one as well. And now there's only 5 left. So if you want yours on your on sale gelatinous cube, I do suggest that. So this is my one of my favorite monsters from Dungeons and Dragons, next to the owlbear. And funny enough, while I was looking for Mr. Gelatinous Cube, here I found out Owlbear is coming out in the fall. The Dungeons and Dragons Golden Archive Collection Owlbear. I'm like, what? An owlbear? An 1/12 scale owlbear? Get out of here! You know, you're joking me, right? And honestly, I think that's where the Dungeons and Dragons toy line will thrive. There's plenty of monsters in the Dungeons and Dragons universe that we've never really gotten great action figures for. Yeah, the adventures are all nice, but nah, screw that. Don't give us any of those adventures. I don't care for them. All right, I got plenty of human action figures that are 1/12 scale from all sorts of fantasy stuff that you can find everywhere. You know what you can't find everywhere? An owlbear, or an ifrit, or a goblin. Oh, 1/12 scale goblin army builder set? Yeah, I'd be down for that. Give me a box of like 5 goblins. I'd pay $100 for a box of 5 goblins that had a bunch of accessories and stuff and were kind of fun. That's kind of cool. I hope they do stuff like that, because the monster manual is filled with wonderful, wonderful monsters that all have some pretty cool looks to them. I mean, nuts. What's the one with the eyeball? I've talked about him on. I've done an entire. I always forget the giant eyeball that can paralyze you and is immune to magic. I need to turn in a Dungeons and Dragons card for not knowing that name. Sorry. But I think that would be a really cool thing to have in 1/12 scale. I don't know about the rest of you. So let's get into talking about this gelatinous cube. I've got a few things around the gelatinous cube right now to try and help understand exactly the size dimensions you'll be getting here. I have inside the gelatinous cube a few things. So we're going to talk about what I have around the gelatinous cube first, and then we're going to get into the gelatinous cube itself. Before I really get into that, though, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite monsters from Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual that you would love to see in 1/12 scale that you've never been able to find? Which is that one dream monster that you've always wanted and just part of your collection for whatever reason? I don't care. Just let me know what is your favorite monster that you want to see in the 1/12 scale, because Gelatinous Cube's up there for me, and so is Owlbear's. They're both coming out. I'm like, wow, that's cool. So if you remember my video, and you can find it in my 1/12 scale vehicles playlist, I had the crane truck from WWE, the Smash Truck thing, and currently it's got its little chain and its bauble, its globe cage, hanging above the gelatinous cube. There's not much clearance between it and the gelatinous cube, but I thought it'd be like a little fun thing for them to try and do, is rescue the people in the gelatinous cube by lowering in a big ball cage and getting everybody to grab it, and then getting the machine to actually try and yank them out of the cube without yanking the cube up from the ground. A rescue mission. That's why they got the bat there, because they don't care if he gets disintegrated in the cube. So that is why we've got this guy kind of hanging out up here. I thought that was really neat. I wanted to show it. So let's move him out of the way. Let's go ahead and actually, I wonder if he'll just stay if I move you. Let's see. Will he stay? Will he stay? So let's just rotate. Rotate, rotate, rotate. No! He fell. Oh. He hit the, I hit the sentinel. Oops. But it's okay. I don't think he fell on the ground. I think he just fell somewhere on the table. Oh, he fell in the truck. Okay, cool. All right. That's nice. So he's there. He's safe. We don't have to worry about that. No cats are going to play with him. All right. Next step is to do a little comparison here with the Bone Crusher. We've got the Bone Crusher with the bat on top of it, and the bat on top of it can look over the side of the Gelatinous Cube. Actually, when the bat stands on the back of the Bone Breaker, his head is the only thing kind of over the edge of the Gelatinous Cube, so he can actually look at all the cool items on top of it. I'll just drive the Bone Crusher around and look at that. Just look at that. All right, so the Bone Crusher is a pretty long figure, the Build-A-Figure, and the Gelatinous Cube is still longer than Bone Crusher. Actually, if I wanted to, I could probably put Bone Crusher inside of this cube. This is the Build-A-Figure from the Marvel Legends thing. We covered it last year, and it was a lot of fun. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove Bone Crusher from the side here. We're going to put him, we'll put him over here on this side, because Cream is not with me today, so he's not sleeping in his spot, and I can use it for storing action figures. Nice. Finally, I wanted to bring out M.M.E, because a lot of people have M.M.E in their collection, so I figured why not. And M.M.E, his eyes, they can't look over the edge of the Gelatinous Cube, but his hairline is above the edge of the Gelatinous Cube, so he could shoot his little, laser in the middle of his forehead. Yeah, you get ugly, ugly forehead. But, yeah, so we can do that with him. That's pretty neat. Here's your laser spot. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you can totally shoot a laser above the Gelatinous Cube. But that's just we just set him on top of the Gelatinous Cube. And just set him off over here to the side. All right, so that's just the size comparison stuff I wanted to do with Gelatinous Cube. I also showed off the bat in front of him on the short video I did before making this video. So let's talk about the Gelatinous Cube in depth now that we've done all the size comparison stuff and gotten that out of the way. The thing to know about this thing is it is an assembly project. You get him in 6 little sheets, the 6 parts of a cube, or the 6 sides of a cube. So you would get 2 side pieces that actually plug in underneath the cube. There's these bits. Once you plug them in, you can't get them out. So I kind of built it and then went, crap, I should have done a video about it. But I may have opportunity because my housemate, like I said, is getting one of his own, and we'll do a video. But it's a simple way to construct them. So what you do is you put the 2 sides in that have the little nail ends at the end to snap them into place. In the middle of this long bit, and I think, yeah, this is one of the sides. So in the middle, right in the middle, there's this little tab bit that you do need to make sure you thread into the appropriate hole. And then you're going to have to make sure the bigger ends are in each of the bigger holes and push hard. This thing will not go in easy, and you got to give it a little oomph, you got to get a little strength, and try not to have it end up flying across the room. I don't want you to break it or lose any of these accessory cool things on it. Then, after you've put in both sides onto the bottom bit, and make sure whenever you attach the bottom, there's going to be 2 different sides. You got this bit that pops inwards and has a bunch of waffling on it and some holes and stuff in it. That's going to go on the bottom. There's going to be a side that's got some nice smooth textures to it, and it feels like it goes down into a bowl, and there's little nubbins everywhere for you to put the feet of your action figures into. You want to make sure that's facing towards the ceiling, because that's going to be actually what you attach the action figures to inside the Gelatinous Cube, and you want to make sure that you do that correctly. If you don't do that correctly, you're going to have a bad time. After you've put on the 2 sides, Then what you're going to do with the sides that don't have the big honkin', the big pieces that plug in and snap into place, they just have little edges on the sides, and you're going to slide them. So we're going to go ahead and remove this top. There it goes. There it goes. So you'll want to slide the piece, and there's little edges. You can feel with the very tips of your fingertips. You can feel the little edges. And what you do is you just put it like a drawer that you're trying to put into a cabinet that you just moved. So you want to line up the little ends of this sleeve thing with those edges built into the sides of the big pieces that you attached permanently to the sides of your cube, and then you're going to push it down. You're going to make sure you move your hand all the way down, because it will try about halfway down to jump the tracks. There's some spots missing there, and you got to put it on new tracks and continue pushing it down. And then there's going to be a tab that's attached to this panel that you're going to need to make sure fits into the hole in the center. And it's a little rectangular tab, and it's a little rectangular hole. And once you get it lined up all right, then you give it a heavy press and snap it into place. It is very tactile to build this thing, because you want to make sure that everything's running in its sleeves, its little lanes, and it's snapping together. Because if you don't do it right, it's not going to work out too well. You're going to have this piece like fold up or pop out at the random time, and you're going to have to disassemble it and rebuild it a few times till everything lines up. But it's so easy, a blind person can do it without instructions. So I have faith in you, I really do. Now let's talk about some of the fun things that we have here. We've got a bit of play thing, a bit of a play style going on. Let's talk about it. So with the Gelatinous Cube, if you didn't know, in Dungeons & Dragons, they're not really conducive to your character's health to try a physical attack against a Gelatinous Cube. It's not going to end well for you. The Gelatinous Cube will try to eat you. It's advisable that you get your spellcaster, your glass cannon, eliminate it by removing it with fire. A nice fireball in the center of the Gelatinous Cube usually, removes a Gelatinous Cube from the equation. But you don't always have access to fireball. And if you don't have access to fireball, my advice to you in any game that has a Gelatinous Cube in it is to run the other way. If you don't have access to fire or any sort of magical attacks, because if your berserker goes all berserker and tries to attack it, it's not going to end well for your berserker. Like we see with the red ninjas that are in here, and Colossus. Like Colossus tried to, he's like, I can defend, I can beat this thing, and then Colossus got eaten. We'll just go ahead and take Colossus out. We got Colossus in here, and we got two red ninjas in here as well. And I've got a red ninja's arm sticking out over here. So there is a shield in here somewhere. And let's see. I've been turning. I've made this. Oh, there's the shield. Come here, shield. No. I need your shield. Come on. No, not that. That's a backpack. I need the shield. I need the shield. Come on. I need the shield. Hey, good grief. So, where the red ninja's arm is currently hanging out, holding on to a whip. This is the whip that you get with Crocmaster. Actually, Crocmaster's in there as well. But we can go ahead and remove his arm from the whip. Go ahead and push the arm of the red ninja back into the hole. I love this hole that you can put your figure's arms through. I think that's a really fun addition. Like they could just say like, help me, I'm stuck. I think it's fun. We can knock him back. So it comes with the shield that it has this giant peg on the back of it. And it is a shame that it's like this. Like, I think it would have been cool if they had included this, but had cut it up so that it could rest on either side of a figure's arm. And I may cut it up later just to do that, because it is a fun feeling shield, and I think it'd be neat to have a character actually holding the shield. But it's been eroded away by the caustic acid. You can put the shield in the fist hole, and once you put the shield in the fist hole, you've hidden the fist hole, and the shield does kind of stick out a bit more than any other accessories. Now, inside, we've got this red ninja here. Let's go ahead and remove red ninja. Hey, there we go. So we got this red ninja here, and I've removed his kunai because they were getting in the way. There's a grasper claw in the middle of this thing, and this grasper claw can wrap around the center, the midriff of an action figure. You can do it only sideways though, because it seems to be a little, it's not really the, go ahead and remove the sword, drop the sword. So this red claw can hold a figure in many different ways, like that. Like it's, you can, since these red ninjas are so articulated, you can have it where it's just this red ninja's floating there and his back is broken. I think that's neat. Just pull it out. But that grasper claw allows for you to, set some figures in here in different forms and fashions, and there we go. So that's the red ninja. Pull him out. He's still got the whip wrapped around his arm. Yeah, I was doing a little plaything of the red ninja went in there, and the other red ninja wrapped his arm in the whip to try and pull him out, but then ended up getting yanked into the gelatinous cube itself. So I'll set the other red ninja off over here to the side, and now we've got a who else is in here? Wait, what are you doing in here? Oh, right, this is the other red ninja. You need to be out too. I don't know why you're still in here. So let's set this red ninja off over here to the side. And there's Colossus and two red ninjas, and then Crocmaster. He's got a blast effect in his pistol, right? Yeah, cool. I have Crocmaster here with his pistol and blast effect. I was like, Crocmaster's going to try and shoot his way out of this situation. It's not really going to work for him, but, he can make the attempt. Make sure I don't lose that blast effect. I'm always worried I'm going to lose a blast effect. All right. Now all we have left in here are accessories, and that's what really this thing's all about. This is a place to hold your heads. I got some heads here. And it was like perfect place for heads and extra hands is inside of a gelatinous cube. You've got a big 8-inch by 8-inch area here, only broken up by this claw in the center that rotates. So this area is just large. You can put a lot of stuff in here. It is a nice, large area. It's just a box. It is just a box, but it's a very nice box. And it's got the clear sides. It's really great for just accessory storage. And honestly, if you're a Marvel Legends collector or something like that, or you collect fig arts, then you have a lot of accessories. You have a lot of extra hands, you have a lot of extra faces, extra heads. You need a place to put them all that makes sense. And having a lot of heads, hands, faces, and accessories inside of a gelatinous cube makes sense to me. It just does. So that's the container aspects of the gelatinous cube. Now let's talk about all of the gelatinous cube's accessories and its textures. Let's go ahead and close this up. The only accessory inside there is this weird claw thing that is textured like goo. It's like a goo claw. It's very, very disgusting feeling. It's gross. It's this entire thing is gross because it's a giant gooey cube that eats you. Oh. There it goes. Oh. Hey. Something's not right. What screwed up? What aren't you working on, huh? Did I put you on wrong? I think I put it on wrong. Okay. So there is a right way and a wrong way to put this thing together, at least when it comes to this lid. And the best way to find out the right way for the lid is to find the hip bone on the top of the lid. You'll find a boat, and then you'll find this other thing over here that feels really weird. That's actually a hip and leg. I know. I've asked a few of my friends, like, are you sure that's a hip and leg? Because that doesn't really feel like it. But that's what it is. So it's just been melted a lot by acid. And if you turn this guy around, you'll find that there's a leg and a head on one side. It's on the same side as this scroll that's down there. So you line up the hips corner with the leg corner, and then everything about this thing pops into place. Very, very sweet and nice. And it does so in a way that leaves this little lip just right here. It evens out everywhere else, but just at this corner, at the corner that it doesn't really have anything, because this side has bow, and we'll talk about the bow in a minute. But this corner that is right above the scroll is the corner that you can pull the lid off from. That's really nice that they did that. There's just that very a little bit of an edge, and that edge is perfect for getting a fingernail in and pulling this guy up. Now this thing does come with some fun accessories, and but before we get to the accessories, let's talk about my favorite part about this thing, the way it feels. They used a very weird, glossy, rubberized plastic for this. It's not their normal type of clear plastic. It's something else, and they put a texture or paint on it that just makes it feel oily and slimy. Like you almost want to wash your hands after feeling this thing. It's so glossy and smooth, but the way they textured in here, the smooth glossiness turns into a slimy texture. Like this thing feels like it's made of slime, and I love it. I love the texture of this. It feels like, you know, what I imagine a gelatinous cube would feel like. I mean, not hard plastic. It'd be more of a jello, but they got the texture right. They got the way that slick feeling. I think they did that very, very well. Now, let's talk about some of the accessories you get. So we'll start with the scroll here at the bottom left-hand corner. We can pull it out. Every one of these accessories is recessed. It has its own little container, or at least its own little spot that's been pushed into the plastic, and it even has a little peg so you can pull it out. The scroll is pretty nice. It's a half-open scroll, which doesn't have anything written on it, which I think is kind of a shame. It would have been neat to have some symbolism or something written on there, but my friends told me there's nothing really written. The end of the scroll is a bit thicker than I would like. For paper, I think they went a little big with the thickness there. But for the most part, you know, it's a decent scroll. It's the first scroll accessory I've ever had for 1/12 scale, and it's even kind of broken off. It's like half of a scroll, because you got the part here on the end that you can hold something in. It's actually got a hole cut through it, so you can even tie it to a string or something. And that's neat. And then on the other side, it's kind of broken away. Like this was a bigger scroll once, but somebody ripped it in half. And I think that's really neat. And its texture is rubberized plastic. So we can go ahead and put it back. All these things are textured in that rubbery plastic that I have mixed feelings on. And like the Tiger Force Outback was made, his gun was made with that same plastic. I bent it on camera and was like, look at this. So on the same side as the scroll, we've got this squished down head. It's kind of a neat little accessory. It's just a squished down skull. You got this opening jaw kind of feeling thing. They did all right with the texture, but it's so alien feeling that it's weird. What's even weirder is how the skull ended up all the way down here when the rest of his body is scattered everywhere else. Now, the leg here is it's actually a nice leg. You got a little foot. You got this bit of boot there, some moving away. It feels more like bones than anything else, with bits of armor still attached to it. It's a leg, but how often do you just get a leg? You know, that's pretty neat. And the leg does fit very nicely into its little spot there. Let me make sure I find that. I'm supposed to put this back in. Let's see. Okay. So this leg is supposed to go. And there's the hole. Cool. Had to find the peg hole to put the leg back. Every one of these things, just about every one of them, has a peg hole. And I like the leg a lot because it is kind of hanging off of this thing. It's not exactly attached to the gelatinous cube the same way everything else is. It's more hanging out than anything else. So let's move over here to the top before we move to the next side. And the top here has this hip thing that I explained about. Let me pull it off. The hip thing is a U shape, and it's got this long bone that's kind of broken off or eroded away. Everything here feels soft and kind of eroded away because the gelatinous cube, you know, eats through acid. So everything will be a little eroded away. and not really great. You're never going to find great stuff whenever you destroy a gelatinous cube, because a lot of the stuff you find in the gelatinous cube is going to be a bit on the shoddy side. And now how do we put this piece back? Okay, there it is. All right. And that piece is going to go there, and that piece is going to go like that, right there. Every one of these pieces, like I said, fits very nicely down. You just got to find the right shape. Now, one of the cooler things this thing comes with is this bow, and I like this 1/12 scale recurve bow. Look at this thing. It's got the curves at either end, like like a big high elf bow. It reminds me a lot of some bows that you would get from Diablo 2, and because I was a big Diablo 2 player. You got a nice hand grip there. It seems to be a little large for a figure's hand, which isn't really the greatest thing. But we can get the bat here. He's our resident experimenter. So bat, can you hold this bow? This bow is very large on you. I think the hand. Hey. I think the handle may be a bit large, but it's definitely a big bow. Good grief. Let's see. Yeah. Your hand. Oh, wait. No. No, your hand fits around the handle of the bow very nicely, Mr. Bat. Very, very nice. Very nice. And now you're just going to straighten your arm out, just like that. Good. Now you cock that and then we're going to put the gun against the edge of it. Yeah. All right. That's neat. It fits in your G.I. Joe classified figures hands. All right. And let's put the bow back. I think the bow is one of the more unique things that you get with this set. It's really cool, and it's really big. So let's turn the cube and talk about the side over here. This side comes with a piece of armor. This armor is not wearable by anybody, and it actually is really hard to get out of its little spot, but it's a solid chunk of plastic with some molding on it, like some sort of cuirass or something, like your midriff body armor. It's got some studs in it, so maybe it's studded leather armor. And then down here, we've got my favorite accessory of the bunch. Straight up, no lie, it's a book, a 1/12 scale book that's got a skull on it. It's got a ram's head just molded into the. It's so cool. We can put it on his. Hold on to this book. Can you hold on to this book for me? Hold on to the book. Hold on to the book. There you go. There you go. All right. Now you're just going to go. Yeah, I said it right. Yeah. Reminds me so much of Evil Dead, but it's a good tome. Yeah, this is more of a tome than a book. A tome, not a tomb. A tome. Now we're going to put the tome back, but that is a great book. It's got it's individual page textures on the sides. It's got little rips and tears in it. Like, this book has been eaten by a gelatinous cube, but it's a magical book, so it's not been eaten completely by it. It's just been a little eroded away, but it's still there. The binding is still good. It's still a solid book. It's really, really nicely textured. And I love how they got the individual pieces of paper in that texture. Ah, it's so cool. Let's put this thing back. Let's see. How does this book go back? Come on, book. Right. We got to get this book correct. Okay, so that's the spot right there. There it goes. Excellent. Like I said, sometimes it's a little difficult to get the pieces back in. And finally, on this side, we have another accessory of fun. And this accessory of fun is a health bottle. Yeah, you heard me right. We finally get a health bottle for a health potion. It's a bottle for a health potion. Give it to the bat. Come on, bat. Hold the bottle. Hold the bottle. It's got a little loop there. It's got a little handle loop, so you can try to thread his thumb into it. And get his thumb into that loop though. Let's see. Can we do it? Can we do it? Yes, we can. Look at that. Look at that. It's so neat. Yeah, I think it's cool. He's just holding it. He's got a health potion. It's a bat with a health potion. No! They're not known for healing. What will they do now? That's cool. The health potion is really neat. It's not very big, but it is a nice little bottle. It's got a cool cap to it. They did a good job texturing it. It's a bit flatter than I thought it would be, but for the fact that these things don't really heal that much health, it makes sense that it's this small. It's barely, so it works, and it fits very snugly right there. And so that's all the pieces on this side. Now let's move over to the side that has the shield and the hole in it. And we've got a few more pieces over here. So let's talk about the messenger bag. This messenger bag's kind of a difficult thing to get back in, but it's in the bottom left-hand corner of the side that has the shield that you can pull out. And it's actually very well textured. You got a really nice messenger bag feel here. Got a little clasp there that they put in there. This plastic is rubberized, but that's something I approve of here. Where are you at, Cobra Bat? Okay, so we're going to take the bat, raise up his arm there, and we're going to slide this in there. And now we can go ahead and put it either like hanging off, like he's got a purse, or we can, let's move it over here for a second. Remove his head, and we can move this thing up and over the top of the head, and then we can put the head back in. There we go. Now we have an adventurer's bag on the side of the Cobra Bat. Isn't that neat? I keep decking this guy out with all sorts of gear. He's got one of Maggot's maggots on his leg. He's got the WWE belt on him, and I just gave him a nice little bag. Look at that. It's a cute little bag. But it fits very well with your 112 scale figures, and it's pretty easy to put on. So let's go ahead and put the bag back where it was. Pull the bat's head off. Remove this bag. There it goes. Put the head back. So that's something else you can do with these pieces. You can give your Cobra Bat a nice little bag. I think that's neat. And the bag fits back in its spot. Very neat. Very neat. Now over here on the other side of the bag, we have, and there's not many things on each side, but we have this little axe. Let's get the Cobra out. Let's give him the axe. Okay, so come on, bat. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. That's a decent axe. That's a cool axe. It's got a really nice blade to it. Really well sculpted blade. The leather stripping goes down the entire handle of the axe, so he's got a really nice solid thing, and it's got a mace on the end of it. It's got a little flat end, so this axe can hammer things. You can spin it around, and then you can use it to bash heads. Yeah. I mean, he's an android, so an android wielding an axe like this, that's kind of terrifying. That's a very heavy axe, but the axe has got a flat end and a big sharp end. It's a fun axe. So we're going to put the axe back. Is this the right way to put the axe back? Yeah, that's the right way. There it is. Okay, so we got to make sure we get this right. With this stuff that is like sculpted in, you got to make sure. Finally, on this side, we've got the shield that we talked about earlier that I found, and we pulled out. We pull the shield out again. Pull the shield out. Come. Yeah, there it goes. All right, so the shield here isn't too bad. It's just a shame that you can't really hold it. Like, you can put a figure's fist inside of the hollow section that the shield uses, and you can kind of get a figure to hold it like that by putting their fist into the hollow circle that we use to hold the shield onto the side of the Gelatinous Cube, but the shield would just fall off. It's not really held in there very well, which is my negative on this Gelatinous Cube, is that they didn't give us a fun handle for the shield, but instead the shield covers up that cool hole in the side of the plastic that allows figures to put their arms through. So I'm going to go ahead and put that shield back in, and finally let's move over to this other side. Is this the last side? We covered all the sides. Yeah, this would be the last side. Cool, we're almost there. And this side has another fun accessories. So over here on this side, we've got this weird axe thing. This is an odd one. It's got this handle bit on the end, and it feels like it once had some like a wraparound or something, but it's weird feeling down here at the end of this axe. And this axe is a wicked one. It's got notches in the blade. Like, this thing has been eaten a lot by the Gelatinous Cube, more so than the other axe. You can put your action figure's hand into the bottom claspy area of this axe, and there we go. And this is more of a throwing axe, a large throwing axe, but a throwing axe nonetheless. So that's fun. That's cool. It's a fun little axe, and don't know how many figures that you have in your collection that may want to utilize such an axe, but I think if you have a Hulk, axes like that work very well with Hulk. And now finally, one of the weirdest pieces to get with this is this bag of gold. Now, this bag of gold has been sculpted amazingly well. You've got this wonderful, sculpt of the leather on the bag, the little closed up top of it. You got the sculpt of the fact that the bag is ripped open or has been eaten away at enough where the gold is now starting to fall out, and you got little bits of gold falling out of the bag. We can, of course, attach this bag, put his bag into his hand, and now he'll be holding a bag of gold that's spilling out. And the nice thing about the gold spilling out is that you can actually, get it into some really wonderful looking textures, or at least some gameplay aspects. So it's a dynamic prop, that's for sure. There we go. You can get it into his hand, and now he's holding it but somebody slit the bottom of the bag, so he's just looking at all of his gold falling out. I think it's fun. It gives you a dynamic posability because the gold is in the middle of falling out, so this bag can be used in many different pictures and stuff. It would have been cool if they'd given us two bags, one with gold falling out and one without gold falling out, but oh well. And then we've talked about that axe, we've talked about that bag, we spin it around, and we're back at the beginning. And yeah, that is the Gelatinous Cube. Now, before I leave it off, let me make sure I've counted how many figures you can stand up in here, because they have some nubbins that you can put figures in. So let's just move stuff out of the way. And we've got a nubbin in each corner, I want to say. 100%. Yeah, one nubbin there, one nubbin there, one nubbin there, and one nubbin here. So yes, you can put a figure in. Is there a nubbin on this corner? Yeah, there is a nubbin. So there's 4 nubbins that you can put your figures feet into, one on each corner. That means you can put 4 figures in there with a 5th one. I mean, you can pile the figures in there if you want, but if you want them standing up, you could put 1 on each corner with a 5th one hanging out in the middle. That's 5 figures. That's not a bad thing. It's a nice way to hold any of your figures and accessories that just you don't have a place for on your shelf at the moment, but you would like to showcase them. And everything about this is clear, so if you have a very thin light platform, or maybe one of those like thin clicky lights that you can put on the the underside of an upper shelf to show light on the shelf below it, you can put that thin light underneath this and then set this on top, and everything about this cube will glow because it's all clear. But I have blathered on quite a while about the